welcome. You're watching The Buck Stops Here. Our top story tonight, patriotism continues to be the new political hot potato. Now the latest controversy is after political leader Asad Owaisi declared in response to the RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's comments that he would not say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Saying that the constitution did not mandate this, Owaisi was essentially challenging the RSS chief's proclamation that the younger generation should be taught slogans like Bharat Mata Ki Jai, perhaps referring indirectly to the JNU controversy. How should we read this war over a slogan? How have slogans come to be the defining barometer of who's a patriot and who's not a patriot? And are both the RSS and Asad Owaisi playing politics over patriotism? Let's introduce our panel today. Joining us now is Asad Owaisi himself, who said that even if you put a knife to my throat, I will not say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Also joining us is BJP leader Nalin Kohli. With me in the studio is Colonel Ajay Shukla, who is formerly with the Indian Army, now a defence analyst. And also with me is Professor Rakesh Sinha, an RSS ideologue and a professor. I'll start with you, Asad Owaisi, simply by asking you, why would you say no to a slogan that has no religious connotation, that simply describes the country to be the motherland, and that actually goes back to the years of the freedom movement, that was one of the multiple slogans used at that time, that even a Mahatma Gandhi or a Bhagat Singh did not have objections to? What is your objection, Asad?
Well, let me quote to you from an article written by eminent scholar and MP Saugat Bose,
Yes.
which appeared in EPW 1998.
Yes.
He says that Mahatma Gandhi supported, there were three slogans in front of Mahatma Gandhi, and Mahatma Gandhi supported Hindu Musalman Ki Jai.
Yes. And the three slogans, in Shaugato's article were, the three slogans were actually first coined by Shaukat Ali, were Allahu Akbar, Hindu Musalman Ki Jai and Bharat Mata Ki Jai. All three, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But
yes,
Bharat
yes,
Mata Ki Jai
yes,
was also one of them.
Yes, but Mahatma Gandhi supported Hindu Musalman Ki Jai.
Yes.
Secondly, let me also quote to you from what Ambedkar said on 17 December 1946.
Yeah.
He said, let us leave aside slogans, let us leave aside words which frighten people. Let us even make a concession to the prejudice of opponents, bring them in so that they may willingly join with us on marching upon that mat, which, as I said, if we walk along enough, must necessarily lead us to unity. Thirdly, I still reiterate again, the founding fathers who made constitution, they should have said, I understand religious symbols which will increase my nationalistic fervor. But please understand that the idea of India is very exhaustive. The idea of India, I will never subscribe to idea of India what RSS or BJP holds to. That is my right. I will never subscribe to it. This is mere demagoguery that, the argument given by BJP and RSS can increase the tempo or make it emotive. But you cannot argue on that basis that this is very important.
But let me interject there to say, let me just interject there, Asad, to say that Bharat Mata Ki Jai is not a slogan that the BJP or the RSS owns. As I said, it's a slogan that goes back, in fact, to the independence movement. And from the same article of Shaukat Bose that you quote is in front of me, and it actually says Gandhi supported the proposal of brother Shaukat Ali that there should be three national cries: Allahu Akbar, Bande Mataram, or Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and Hindu Musalman Ki Jai. So my question simply is, why would you treat the slogan as belonging to one political party or one religious group? The slogan is about the country.
Barkha, I have no issues and problem if my colleague Nalin Kohli stands in front of me and raises that slogan. I have objection when that is made the parameter to question my loyalty and nationalism to this great nation of ours. That is my problem, that you cannot tell me that you have to say this particular slogan and then only we'll recognize you as nationalist. Otherwise you should pack your bags and go to Pakistan. Whereas the fact of the matter is, it is the Muslims of India, my forefathers defeated Jinnah. We said you are wrong, we will not follow you. Now you come and tell me that you have freedom of expression, but no, not on this matter. You have to say what we are saying, because what we are saying, what BJP are saying is the word of God, which is not.
Let me take that to Nalin. Nalin, I think the last part of what Asad Owaisi is arguing is the operative part. That there is nothing wrong with the slogan. What he is objecting to is making the slogan a test of patriotism. And today you have everybody in the government, from Smriti Irani to Venkaiah Naidu, attacking Asad Owaisi for saying he won't say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. You have the usual Kailash Vijay Varghya who wants to send everybody to Pakistan, saying Owaisi should go to Pakistan. You have a Shiv Sena ministers in Maharashtra saying he should be investigated. You know, so the point that Asad Owaisi is making is, by all means, those who embrace the slogan should do so. This problem is not with the slogan, the problem is making it a mandatory test of patriotism. That is a problem.
This is going to take a few minutes, Varkha, because there are multiple points. And Asad Bhai has nuanced his argument, but all the reactions of today that you are saying are the manner in which he also raised the point yesterday. So let's go back. He's quoted Gandhiji, he's quoted Dr. Ambedkar. I mean, I have no problem, you have no problem. I don't think anybody has a problem in saying Hindu, Muslim, Hindu, Sikh, Muslim, Isai, all of us are bhai, there is no problem. Jai for everybody. At the end of the day, we are Indians. India is just not a piece of land. The concept of a nation goes beyond a piece of land. That piece of land, I mean, and let's look at what happened. Mr. Owaisi made 3 or 4 comments in that. He said one, that you hold a knife to my, I don't know why, and I say it with respect. Why do we need to bring up this thing about holding my knife, gala kaat lo? These are bad statements that today are seen with a terrorist group like ISIS. We can say our thing, we can say it nicely, we may have disagreements, but why do we run down the country for politics? Because this is about India, and India belongs to each one of us, we belong to India in totality. Now let's go next. Mr. Owaisi said that, we believe in the Constitution. And I'll tell you right now on this program, if you say that it is not prescribed in the Constitution, nor are, and I say it with humility, 4 wives, uniform civil code is therefore equal rights. So therefore you will say there is a religious context, there is a cultural context. That's why I am entitled to have a position which may not be written in the Constitution. The same as Bharat Mata Ki Jai. There is a context that goes beyond the Constitution, preceding the Constitution.
Okay.
So everything has to be seen in a context.
Okay.
And that's where the problem arises. You then make it a mandatory that no, if I say this, my nationalism is being questioned. Now, when you quote Ambedkar or Gandhi, let's understand in 47, there was a choice between the split up of India, that they could both have been theocratic states. Pakistan became a theocratic state. India chose to move down in a non-theocratic state, which means Indians, irrespective of their religion, including Muslims, wanted it to be a nation that is not driven by religion. But when you say Bharat Mata is a religious thing, which precedes it, leads to the independence of India, you are bringing religiosity.
I'll allow
so
Asad
people
a
will
brief
react.
interjection before going to Rakesh Sinha and Ajay Shukla. Asad Owaisi, this point that you can't use the Constitution to frame all your arguments, because Nalin Kohli then says the Constitution also talks about the Uniform Civil Code being an ideal, a directive, a principle to aspire for. In effect, accusing you of selectively embracing parts of the Constitution or selectively using the Constitution to frame your debates.
Barkha, Nalin is a practicing lawyer, which I am not. Directive principle and a fundamental right to religion is huge. There's a huge difference. That is the base part of basic structure of Constitution. Secondly, will the BJP ensure that 2 northeast states, which are by Constitution given a right that no one would interfere in their cultural activities, will that be taken away? Would my friend Nalin please enlighten me that his party is supporting Akali Dal passed an Anandpur Sahib resolution stating we do not agree with this concept of Bharat Mata. You are in government with them in here and over there. So, I am telling you that you don't put forward these arguments that my idea of India is absolute and you have to abide by it. What BJP is trying to do is that, sow the seeds of a Hindu Rashtra. He's right by saying that we chose to become a democratic nation, but also a republic nation.
Okay.
And in the republic, where is the concept of Mata? Please tell me.
In the republic,
I will answer. I need a brief intervention.
Let me go to Professor.
No, because he raised it specific of me. I won't take long.
Okay, can you make it brief?
Right to equality. Right to equality is a fundamental right.
Yeah.
And no distinction between the sexes in terms of the application of law is a fundamental right. So therefore, the directive principles follow later in a subsequent chapter. So therefore, there is a strong argument here. Number two, about Mata, there is a, as I said, look at, Muslims do not go for idol worship. Obviously, you can't tell them that go for idol worship. But the concept is also symbolic. You come from the earth, you go to the earth. Muslims, in fact, are buried in the earth. Hindus are burned, their ashes are immersed. So therefore, in a symbolic thing, you come from the earth, you go to the earth. Is it not like mother? And don't you have Mother Nature? Or is Mother Nature also religious?
Can I ask both of you to pause for a moment? And before we come to Professor Sinha and Ajay Shukla, we'll just play because Nalin said the tonality of what Mr. Owaisi said is also important. The metaphor he used, the churi ka example also made it different. Let's just hear what Asad Owaisi said.
मोहन भगवत साहब मैं नहीं लगाता नारा क्या करते आप नहीं बोलता मैं मेरे गले पे छुरी भी रख देंगे तो नहीं बोलूंगा मैं क्योंकि हिंदुस्तान के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में कहीं पर भी लिखा हुआ नहीं है भारत माता की जय बोलना हिंदुस्तान के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में
Rakesh Sinha, you would read that comment as not a challenge to RSS. This is what you said. If this is not a challenge to the RSS, this is a challenge to the collective conscience of India. Now, you heard Asad Owaisi right now argue that the issue is not the slogan. The issue is making it a test of patriotism.
Who is making the test of patriotism? Nobody is making the test of patriotism. Thing is that he is quoting Mahatma Gandhi. I will suggest Owaisi to read a lecture of Mahatma Gandhi when he inaugurated Bharat Mata temple in Varanasi in 1936. And there he gave a lecture on Bharat Mata. There is no image of God and goddesses, only the map of India. Secondly, Sister Nivedita, she wanted that she should carry the Bharat Mata as image from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. So there is no question. He is in fact rejecting the entire freedom movement, glorious history of freedom movement. Secondly, in 1857, the slogan was Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Even before 1857, this slogan was raised. So my thing is that you might have contempt for the RSS. In democracy, you could have. You could have contempt for Parampuji Sarsang Chalak Mohan Bhagwat ji. You could have. I give you this freedom. Everybody gives. You give me freedom. You are also giving me freedom, having contempt for you. But our contempt for each other should not be contempt for Bharat Mata, Indian nationalism.
But Rakesh ji, there were multiple.
Let me complete. Barkha, let me complete.
I was just going to add a question.
No, let me complete.
मैं आपको ही क्वेश्चन पूछ रही थी. There were multiple slogans in the freedom movement.
Barkha, it will remain incomplete. It will remain incomplete.
Okay, complete your point.
There are certain inescapable imperatives for nationalism that goes beyond the constitution, is one of the parts of the nationalism. Constitution is not the sine qua non for the nationalism. Any part of the world, any discourse of nationalism in any part of the world does not make the constitution the only thing in the framework of the nationalism. So you are making constitution the central thing and everything is redundant. So
Okay.
No. My thing is that only the person of extraterritorial loyalty, only I am giving you this statement, only the person with extraterritorial loyalty
What does this
or
mean?
imagination of true nationalism of Jinnah or having the burden of
You just said, Rakesh ji, you just said, Rakesh
you
ji,
not chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Rakesh ji, you just said it is not a test of patriotism. पर उसी वाक्य में you are saying कि जो ये नहीं बोलता वो या extra territorial loyalty है, which means Pakistan, I am assuming, या फिर जिन्ना का. You
No,
even
Barkha,
said.
Barkha.
What do you mean by extra territorial loyalty?
Yes, I said, Barkha, there is a difference between the two. Nobody is asking you to raise the slogan Bharat Mata Ki Jai. He says, I won't chant this Bharat Mata Ki Jai at any cost. When he says, even if the knife is at his shoulder or at his neck, he will not speak Bharat Mata Ki Jai, he will not chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai. This means that he is against the Indian nationalism, he is rejecting the freedom movement, he is rejecting the evolution of Indian nationalism, and he is carrying the burden of the unfinished agenda of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. And last point.
Okay, those are strong words. Before I take that back to Mr. Owaisi, Rakesh ji, 1 minute. Rakesh ji,
last
get
point,
Ajay Shukla.
last 10 seconds. 10 seconds. His founding father of his party, Qasim Rizvi, left India and went Pakistan. Qasim Rizvi was a Pakistan loyalist. He left his burden to his family, Owaisi's family, his father and him. They are carrying this loyalty to Qasim Rizvi.
That's a very big statement to make, Rakesh Sinha. To actually say that anybody who refuses to chant the slogan has loyalties to Pakistan is what the argument that's emerging here. We'll take that back.
I said someone says this. Someone said that I would chant at any cost. There is a difference between the two.
Okay, Ajay Shukla, you heard Asad Owaisi. The crowds were also cheering him on. The argument could be made that if Mohan Bhagwat and the BJP is playing politics on patriotism, Mr. Owaisi could be charged with exactly the same charge by those on the right or the Hindu right. They would say these are mirror images. How do you see it?
The simple truth of the matter is that human nature is such that if you come to somebody aggressively, you tell them that I am going to judge whether you're a nationalist or not, and the method of judging it is going to be whether you shout these slogans or not, or chant these slogans. Most people would turn around and say, well, I'm not going to do it. If the BJP came to me, a patriot, I have no problems, nobody will doubt my allegiance to India, and say, we will judge whether you're a true Indian or not based on whether you chant a slogan of Bharat Mata Ki Jai, I'll say, be off with you. I won't chant it. And I suspect that Asaduddin Owaisi, regardless of what he might say on that speech, on that podium, or what he says on this program, in his own home, he will have no problem chanting Bharat Mata Ki Jai, provided the RSS is not on his case. But there's another major, larger issue over here, and that is, who is behaving the judge of nationalism? I find it laughable that Mr. Sinha is citing the glorious history of the freedom struggle, given that the RSS stood aloof from the freedom struggle and consciously distanced itself from there. This is a part of the history of modern India. When the tricolour was first unfurled, the RSS refused to pay homage to it. In the Second World War, when India was resisting the British, the RSS disbanded its military wing and said, we will not interfere with the RSS consciously distanced itself from the freedom struggle, played no role in it, and the truth of the matter is that the Muslim League of Pakistan had a larger role in the independence of India than the RSS did.
Okay, that's something I think I'll allow Rakesh Sinha a brief response to, and then we'll take it back to Mr. Owaisi and Nalin Kohli.
No,
yes.
I just feel pity for Mr. Shukla. His knowledge, his limitations of knowledge. I know that he is not from the history. RSS
I'm not history yet,
in the
no.
freedom movement. I feel pity for you. Let me complete. RSS chief Dr. Hedgewar went jail in 1930 participating civil disobedience movement. And 1940 it is the only RSS which refused to cooperate with the British war efforts. And it differed with the Hindu Mahasabha. That's why there was
a serious rewriting of history going on over here.
Let me come later. Mr. Shukla, don't intervene. Yes, I have right to rewrite on the basis of our...
You are not allowed to rewrite history without being challenged.
Okay, you challenge me, na, but your knowledge, I am questioning your scope of knowledge and the horizon of the knowledge.
This is history. This is documented history.
RSS has not cooperated with the Civic Guard and ARP, which British expected. That's why they amended the Defence of India Act and they repressed the RSS. That's why RSS disbanded its military wing just to escape from the British repression and to prepare for the freedom movement.
Let me take this
Mr.
back.
Shukla,
Let me take this back.
For your knowledge, Muslim League,
Mr.
Shukla, Muslim League right from 1906 propagated separatism, and that culminated in the partition of the country. And you are saying that Muslim League has a glorious history in the freedom movement.
They did more for the independence of these two countries than the RSS did.
Try to understand the history. Don't be lawyer of Owaisi. You are acting here as a lawyer of the Owaisi rather than speaking.
At least I have bona fides to be a patriot. I did not oppose the freedom struggle.
I don't know how much fees have been paid by the Owaisi's party.
Please, now we are now entering really going on a tangent here.
He has not heard the speech of Owaisi. The way he condemned the RSS, the language he used in the discourse.
He is not the only one in this country who condemns the RSS.
But Asad Owaisi, let's take it back to Asad and Nalin now. Asad Owaisi, the point is that you too, you too could be charged with playing politics over patriotism. We saw how the crowd was reacting to you. You were also overstating, being rhetorical, some would say being inflammatory. You even brought in Sri Ravi Shankar into your speech. Whereas when you hear Sri Ravi Shankar at the World Culture Festival, he's not shouting slogans of Pakistan Zindabad as suggested by you. He is telling a cleric from Pakistan that Jai Hind or Pakistan Zindabad should go hand in hand. This is a very different formulation from Sri shouting Pakistan Zindabad as you have insinuated. So aren't you also playing politics, Asad?
Barkha, on that person who you just talked about,
Yes.
if I had raised that slogan, Hindustan, Pakistan Zindabad, I would be in prison and there would have been a riot in the country. Second point, what Mr. The RSS professor who was there, you see, when Mahatma Gandhi inaugurated that mandir, the words used by Mahatma Gandhi were, this should promote religious unity, peace and love in the country. And at the same time, Mahatma Gandhi said, in that particular marble stone, there is no goddess. Now, isn't this photo what BJP and RSS do early in the morning? Please enlighten me. I mean, this is what you do. This is my right of how I celebrate my nationhood, my citizenship is up to me. As far as the creation of Pakistan is concerned, it is the Muslim ulema who showed mirror to Jinnah that Mr. Jinnah, you cannot talk about Islam and create a different country. And they were legal Islamic scholars of highest repute. And Mr. Jinnah and the Muslim League used to make fun of them. So don't talk about Muslim League or Jinnah. Mr. Sinha, I have nothing to do with Jinnah.
You are not replying my question. I raised a fundamental question. Qasim Rizvi was the founding father of your party.
I had the magnanimity and the patience to listen to what Mr. Sinha was saying.
Okay, can I ask you a question, Mr. Owaisi, before Nalin comes in? Asad Owaisi, my question is simply this, that in the past, you have even rejected the slogan by the BJP of India first. You said this is a BJP narrative. So the question to you would be, how do slogans about India?
Yes, Barkha. Yes, Barkha.
How do slogans about
Barkha,
India become BJP or Hindutva slogans?
Barkha, please allow me to interrupt you and to stop you. At that point also, I had told you, you can play that record. It must be there in your archives. That Constitution does not talk about India first. It does not talk about India first, for God's sake. The Constitution talks about we the people of India. The Constitution talks about Article 29 and 30. The Constitution talks about Article 15 and 16. The Constitution talks about the weakest of the weak that should be strengthened. Where is the India first? It is good on India first. But is it India first that you question my nationalism because I condemn RSS? Is it India first that Akhlaq was killed? Is it India first that Rohit Vemula was forced to commit suicide because he was called an anti-national? Is this India first?
Nalin Kohli,
I have many things to say.
I know, but I have just one brief question, then you can respond. The problem is this regimenting of patriotism. The problem in this environment, Nalin, is how easily people are dubbed anti-national, how insinuations, especially for Muslims, come much faster. When Asad Owaisi says that had he said at a culture festival that Pakistan Zindabad and Jai Hind should go hand in hand, it's true that he would have been called an anti-national. But if Sri Ravi Shankar says it, we see it as a message of peace.
That's a presumption.
Isn't this a problem, this environment where we are labeling people Desh Drohi? It's horrible to mandate and regiment nationalism. Shouldn't citizens be free to determine that relationship with their state on their own terms?
See, let's look at it again in totality. Asad Bhai makes a few points. Where the problem comes is, when Asad Bhai was there speaking about his saying that I will not say it, he didn't even propose anything that was patriotic in the sense of saying that this is my concept of patriotism. He gave it a violent expression. Bhai, mere gardan pe agar aap rakhoge, talwar, churi, whatever. I'm not going to do it. So therefore, and he was playing to that gallery with that aspect.
Which gallery?
Now
what is this gallery? What is the gallery?
Well, I'm telling you, I'm coming because I'm making these points. I'm saying, I'm coming to it. I'm coming to the Hindu-Muslim question, all of it.
Yeah.
When Asad Bhai speaks about the constitution, he forgets Article 14. He quotes everything which is about my identity, but he forgets even Article 14, which is the basic, equality before law. How is he or me And I'll say it bluntly, me as a Sanatan Hindu, he as a Muslim. How are we different in the Constitution of India? We aren't. How are we different as human beings? We aren't. But where we differ might be our personal practices of religion, our professions, whatever. So that's the area where the difference comes.
No, the
Eating
difference
habits.
is that Muslims
So
are
now
asked
where
to
the
prove their
problem is,
patriotism in a
let
way
me
that
finish.
Hindus are not.
I want to
That
finish this because I'm
often
making
in the
a
current
sensitive point.
discourse, a Muslim will be
Barkha,
asked to
with your
prove his
indulgence.
patriotism in a completely different way.
Barkha, with your indulgence. Let me finish it because I'm making a sensitive point. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that I'm saying it, none of us at a very common level will say Ram Ram to somebody as hello, even say Khuda Hafiz without a problem.
Yes.
Because that's what I'm saying at a human level.
Yes.
When you start then defining that I will not take nationalism like this, you don't have a counter narrative, you make a presumption on Shri Ravi Shankar saying mere upar aise hoga, then you have to go back to his own brother's comment about Are Hindustan ke police. Which means you take the police of India as separate.
You're
so
talking
these
about
contradictions
Owaisi's
come.
comment that if you
So
remove
I
the
think
police
where
from here, we would
where
see.
we are.
Yeah,
Let
okay.
me finish.
That's a valid question about Akbar Owaisi and
So
Asad
therefore, my
Owaisi must
question
answer
is,
it, but I'll just
if
get Rajesh
Mr.
reply.
Owaisi is taking the oath of the Constitution, after all, he is a member of Parliament, I am not.
Yeah.
When he takes the oath of the Constitution, when he quotes the Constitution, then he has to look at it in totality. And it is upon him incumbent that the Constitution was born out of a freedom struggle, of which each one of us owes that heritage and belongs to that heritage.
But you know, Ajay, the problem to me is that, you know, today again you have that old familiar, if he doesn't love his country, why is he here? This is a comment from R.K. Singh of the BJP. Venkaiah Naidu, Union Minister, said he should be ashamed of himself. Kailash Vijayvargiya of the BJP said Asad Owaisi should go to Pakistan. Nalin's point is, where is the counter narrative? Why are you dissing patriotism? Why are you dissing slogans that predate even the independence and belong to the freedom movement?
Because when you make patriotism into an examination, when you make a patriotism into a test, then everybody who is subjected to that test, especially when it's a minority community whose allegiance is being questioned, it is quite understandable that they will take umbrage to that. The real question over here is, what is the need for all of this? Why are we making patriotism into such a big thing at this point in time? And the real question is, what is the real threat to India? Is it that people are not getting up and shouting enough slogans? Is it that we are not overtly displaying our patriotism? What is a greater threat to India at this point in time? Does it come from Pakistan and China? Or would a sort of a rational group of people say that a greater threat to India would lie in communal discord and disharmony within the many communities of India?
I think that's a fair question, Nalin.
Yeah.
I'll
tell you where my problem is.
Why have we created this paranoia around patriotism? Why?
Look, I'll tell you why. Because the self-certification and the condescent starts from how Ajay approaches it. Should not a rational set of people, who has said that the other side is rational,
but look
and
at
who's
these
the decider?
comments.
I'm including you in that, Nalin. I'm including you in that group of people.
It's not personal. It's not personal.
Nalin, senior Shiv Sena leader, your ally, and Minister Ramdas Kadam said Owaisi should go to Pakistan if he... Ek minute. Shiv Sena leader and Minister Ramdas Kadam says Owaisi should go to Pakistan if he doesn't want to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Isn't this the problem?
Yes, so let me finish. I'll address that too. See, I think again Ajay is getting me wrong. It's not a personal comment in terms of my saying it's not about him. I'm saying this is where, when you take it upon it saying define rational, irrational, whenever we'll get into this, the counter narrative will be equally strong. Because if you say that if I don't say Bharat Mata Ki Jai, I'm not patriotic, the same is that if I don't adhere to your view, I'm irrational. So these strong black and white issues always are going to create a strong counter narrative.
I think the question is...
But let me come to what I want to come back to the Hindu-Muslim narrative.
Yeah, quickly, because I'm on last
Because, and this is important.
Yeah.
Yes, of course, there are minorities and there is a majority community which is Hindu. So if a minority says my minorityism is at stake, there is a counter majority view that says that if I say I'm Muslim, it's my identity. If I say I'm Christian, it's my identity. But if I say I'm Hindu, I'm communal. So basically, end of the day, we go back to where we belong, which is the Constitution.
No, I don't think that's
and on the
the
Constitution,
issue.
I'm saying, when you look at the Constitution, look
That's
at it
not
in
the
totality, look at the heritage from which the Constitution comes, we all have no disagreement there. We'll have disagreements. And now on the Pakistan question.
Yes.
Now on the Pakistan
question. Why
question.
are these comments coming?
It
doesn't that prove what Mr. Owaisi is saying?
Tell you
कि
why.
आज आपने इसको एक examination बना दिया, एक test बना दिया.
Look, why would one want to take an examination?
But why are these your senior party leaders and allies talking like this?
So I'm coming to that. I'll answer even the Pakistan question. Its context is important at the moment. I'm not justifying or anything. Hear me carefully. The Pakistan question has to be seen, and Mr. Owaisi has touched upon it briefly in terms of the JNU incident. The JNU incident, which is out there also, when we see भारत के टुकड़े होंगे इंशाअल्लाह इंशाअल्लाह, कश्मीर की भारत की बर्बादी तक जंग रहेगी. When you look at it in that counter, that goes against the very creation of the idea of India. So in that it says, then this is the criteria. But broadly, I would not say Mr. Owaisi should go to Pakistan. He's as Indian as I am. We are from the same constitution, as long as we draw that line and say this is our starting and this is our end.
Okay,
we can have our differences and there's no problem about that.
Okay, now last comments everybody. Rakesh Sinha, when you talk about extraterritorial loyalty, when you draw comparisons between Asad Owaisi and Muhammad Ali Jinnah, are you not converting, or I would say reducing, patriotism to a dangerous yes and no exam? Why should I have to prove as an Indian my patriotism to you or anybody else? Why should Owaisi have to prove it? Why should Ajay have to prove it? Why should you, Rakesh Sinha, have to prove it? हम सब patriots हैं.
No, I am not telling. No, I am not telling, because he has said, merely he said that he will not chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai. There are many reasons. I said the founder of his party has Pakistani loyalty. He left for Pakistan, and his ideology is still cherished by his party. Yeah. Secondly, he had never accepted, his party has not accepted the integration of Hyderabad. Let him say that Rajakar who were fighting against the Indian army were Gundas, were enemy of Indian state. He won't say. His party will not say like
but
that.
Sir, the BJP
Rajakars
is an alliance
with the enemy
with
of
the PDP
India.
and is committed
Secondly,
to a dialogue with the Hurriyat, which stands for Azadi.
Last point, Barkha, 10 seconds. Now, and Owaisi is a member of parliament.
Yes.
You should check the website of the government of India.
Yes.
Maharshi Arvindo's poem, Mother India, is in the website, on the website of the government of India.
Okay,
Mother, I salute thee.
Yes.
So he is rejecting entire.
Let Asad Owaisi answer that. Let Asad Owaisi answer that in last comments
of the nation.
Okay, I very quickly, Asad Owaisi, 2 points. One, what Rakesh Sinha puts to you, and two, Nalin Kohli did raise the point about inflammatory, very inflammatory, some would say anti-Hindu remarks, inciting violence almost made by your brother. And his point is that what happens to your nationalism then?
Because I believed in the rule of law, my brother surrendered to the majesty of law. He was incarcerated for more than 40 days despite his bad illness, and he got the bail. Please, can you show me a single case wherein the BJP leaders have been arrested, or Mr. Togadia, or for a matter of fact, the MP from Agra? You know, I can go on and go on.
Also a minister.
Yeah. And Barkha, at the drop of the hat, people are being told to go to Pakistan. In a lighter vein, should I say that, I mean, Nawaz Sharif would be berserk. I mean, he would be mad. I mean, imagine the people of going to, you know, how many people? I mean, who are you to tell us go to Pakistan, go to the boss? This is my land. And let me, Barkha, let me conclude by quoting a few lines from Rabindranath Tagore's poem in that same article which you quoted. Rabindranath Tagore says, the naked passion of self-love of nations in its drunken delirium of greed is dancing to the clash of steel and the howling verses of vengeance. Keep watch, India. Let your crown be of humility, your freedom, the freedom of the soul. Build God's throne daily upon the ample bareness of your poverty, and know that what is huge is not great and pride is not everlasting. So this is what I want to say in conclusion. You know, don't question my loyalty. I will, of course, till I live, I'll differ with you. I'll condemn RSS and the BJP.
Barkha, he is not answering my question. I raised the question about his founder of his party. He is not answering.
But he is not.
Barkha, please allow me. Barkha, please allow me. Barkha, please allow me. As an Indian MP, I have ample faith and complete faith in the Indian Constitution, and I celebrate my nationalism by going to Parliament and criticizing BJP. Would I put this question to BJP and RSS? You have taken Mr. Subramanian Swamy into BJP, who called Mr. Vajpayee a British agent. Please tell me, how are you tolerating this?
Okay,
Where has your nationalism
this
gone?
is restarting the whole show. Ajay, quickly, last word to you.
I would
I
only
also want
say
to comment.
on this question of nationalism, you know, such a big deal is being made about these people who shouted those slogans over there. Anti-national slogans for sure, but they were slogans shouted by a bunch of students. I don't think this great Republic of India is really threatened by a bunch of people shouting slogans over there. I think the people who are anti-national are not so much the people who are shouting those slogans, but the people who make a big fight out of it, the people who sow communal discord out of it, the people who make it into an examination of loyalties, the people who are undermining the whole internal structure of India.
I will have to leave it there, Nalin. I'm really out of time. Do you have
But
5 seconds?
I have to make a brief
Okay,
comment.
5 seconds. Literally, I have to close. I'm really
I'm just
over
saying
time
one
this.
on this. I don't agree because all those who are anti-national get emboldened by such slogans. The second is on to Asad Bhai, another thing. When Kargil was taken, Indian soldiers, when they took over, I think it was Tiger Hill, said Allahu Akbar and took over that hill. So I think Allahu Akbar, God is great, is as good as Jai Shri Ram. And I think there is no problem if we were to look at the implementation of the constitution with equality for every citizen. When we start defining it in different ways, our problems begin.
I think the problem is when patriotism becomes camouflage for politics, and that's something that concerns all Indians today, Nalin, that patriotism should be left to individuals to define for themselves on their own terms as long as there is
Now,
no
what
violation.
would be a nation if there is no patriotism?
I know, but who defines patriotism? We leave our viewers with that question tonight, leaving it there. Thanks very much. Taking a quick break. On the other side, the story of Shaktiman, the horse who suffered silently. That cruelty captured on camera, striking a chord across millions of Indians' heart. His status and the MLA accused of beating him on the other side. On the buck stops here, India has reacted with horror to these images that show Shaktiman, a horse, suffering silently as protesters all around him, including a BJP MLA who appears to be wielding a lathi, seem to be charging at him. The horse's hind leg was fractured. He is undergoing surgery. But the BJP MLA is contesting this narrative, releasing his own video to say this is a conspiracy to defame him. What is true is that the protests went horribly wrong, and in the melee that followed, the police that was riding on this horse are now booking a case against the MLA. The BJP central leadership says what has happened is unacceptable and the party has taken cognizance of it. But animal rights activists say the MLA must be punished. The MLA, of course, is claiming innocence. Joining us now on the program is Sambit Patra of the BJP, Purva Joshipura, who is, of course, with PETA India, an animal rights activist, Aarti Surendranath, film producer and activist, and we'll have the BJP MLA Ganesh Joshi on the program shortly as well. Sambit, let me start by asking you, how do we reconcile the two positions of the BJP when we look at these horrible pictures? Let's play those pictures again, please. Rajiv Pratap Rudy saying the party believes what's happened is unacceptable. The BJP MLA saying this is a conspiracy to defame me. Whether the BJP MLA used his lathi on the horse or not, the fact of the matter is protesters seem to have been responsible for the horse falling on the ground and injuring himself grievously.
Barkha, first and foremost, let me very candidly accept one fact that yesterday when I was in other channel debating certain other issue, and suddenly when I saw this whole thing in the social media,
Yes.
via the Twitter, it was
Yes.
shocking. It was
Yes.
so horrendous that I went silent for a while. And let me say from my heart of hearts, I mean, we may be politicians, you may think that we are tough people, but believe me, the heart is crying, the heart is bleeding. Whoever may be responsible, whoever may not be responsible is a secondary thing which we will pick up in the debate. But I pray for Shaktiman, because after all, he, Hindi में जैसे कहते हैं, वो एक बेचारा प्राणी है. I mean, someone who cannot talk, someone who cannot express one's agony is suffering. And I really pray that the equine, the horse, in fact, comes
But
to good
Sambit,
health.
your
Having said
MLA
that,
was spotted wielding a lathi. He says he did not use that lathi on the horse,
Yes,
but he
I'm
was
coming to
certainly
that.
wielding the lathi. And now this has already become political. Harish Rawat is saying that you're using a lathi on a horse. The word tolerance is not there in the dictionary of the BJP. The MLA is claiming to be a victim. The horse, bichara, is forgotten.
Barkha, to this, a singular line answer from my side would be law will take its course and law should win. The ultimate victorious one in this whole process should be the law. Because as I was listening to you right now, there is some sense of confusion, I believe. I mean, though one section is saying that he was wielding lathi in front of the horse, there is a second section which is saying that, well, there is no video showing him hitting the horse. As of now, you have also put that, well, there is a sense of confusion.
No,
That's
I
the
am
reason
saying
as to
he's
why I say
definitely
let the
wielding a
law take its
lathi.
own
There is no
course.
ambiguity that the MLA is wielding a lathi. That we can see in these pictures. He is wielding a lathi. And there are protesters all around
even
this
I
horse.
saw.
And there are BJP
Yes, I
protests. This
saw
was
the
the BJP
MLA
protest in
also.
Uttarakhand.
No, well, two things. As far as protests are concerned, protests are absolutely legal. Protests are democratic. One can have a protest in this country. But the second issue is whether this person whom we are talking about, the BJP MLA, is the one responsible for the ill health of the horse. And let me tell you, if he is the one who is responsible for the ill health of the horse, he should not be spared. I mean, naturally, what Mr. Rajiv Pratap Rudy has said today is absolutely right. That this would be noted by the party. Let me bring it Purva and Aarti has done that.
Purva, you've seen the debate on social media. Who do you hold accountable for what has happened to Shaktiman, who can't speak for himself?
Well, what I can say is that the local police have given eyewitness accounts saying Ganesh Joshi is responsible and that he was wielding a lathi. Why is an MLA wielding a lathi at all? So what you can see in the video is this MLA raining blows close to Shaktiman's legs and then Shaktiman falling. And let me just explain how much Shaktiman would be suffering. Not only would this fracture be extremely painful, but horses sleep standing up. This means that Shaktiman will not be able to sleep. It also means that about 200 kilograms of his weight will also be borne by his other leg, which means his other leg will also be damaged. I mean, this is a horse who is going to be suffering for the rest of his life. He'll definitely never walk again, and he's going to be in constant pain. The police investigation must go on, and it must go on quickly, and the culprits must be brought to justice and punished.
Aarti, the point is that the MLA in question is also blaming the police and asking why the police was using a horse to actually fend off the protest. This is fast becoming a political issue. And while ordinary Indians care about the horse, I think the politicians could be accused of caring only about political point scoring at this point.
Absolutely. I see this as a very nice and sophisticated, explanation for everything. But, that's really not the point. As you said, Purva has stated what the horse is going through, so I don't want to duplicate exactly that. However, this is a very beautiful animal who has been reduced to being maimed for the rest of his life. And what is the impression? What are we trying to explain? However much anyone can scream and shout, and the bunch of MLAs can get together and scream and shout from rooftops. There is a man who has gone, who's been given a responsible position in society, who's gone with a lathi and wielded it at an animal. Now, this is not a bird whose leg is just going to break. It's a horse. It's a magnificent creature who's been beaten mercilessly. So, I mean, do these MLAs go out with lathis, or is somebody carrying the lathis for them?
Let me put that to the MLA. I believe Ganesh Joshi is on the phone with us. Ganesh ji, namaskar. Barkha बोल रही हूँ. आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, बरखा जी नमस्कार.
गणेश जी, आपने कहा है कि आपकी गलती नहीं थी, आपने लाठी पकड़ी थी, लेकिन आपने शक्तिमान को मारा नहीं. यहाँ पे लोग आपसे पूछना चाहते हैं, आप लाठी पकड़े ही क्यों थे एक बेचारे जानवर के पास?
मैंने लाठी इसलिए पकड़ी, अगर मैंने एक विजुअल अभी दिखाया लोगों को, एक फोटोग्राफ्स, हमारा एक कार्यकर्ता उसके ऊपर घोड़ा चढ़ा दिया, उसके सर पर घोड़ा चढ़ा दिया, वो हॉस्पिटलाइज है, आईसीयू में पड़ा हुआ है. मैं धरने पर बैठा, मुझे पता लगा कि ऐसा हुआ है, तो फिर हमारे और लोगों पर जो आ रहे थे उनको रोकने के लिए मैंने जमीन पर लाठी फटकारी और उसके बाद मैं चला गया. और उसके 15 मिनट के बाद ये घटना हुई, ये जो घोड़ा जो गिरा जहाँ पर और लोग थे, पूरे विजुअल दिखाया जा रहा है कि कौन व्यक्ति उसकी काठी खींच रहा है, कैसे घोड़ा गिरा है, उसकी टांग कहाँ फंस गई है. आप एक तरफ दिखा रहे हैं लाठी मेरे हाथ में, फिर घोड़े को गिरते हुए दिखा रहे हैं, बीच का पूरा सीन आप गायब कर दे रहे हैं.
वो लाठी आई कहाँ से? वो लाठी आई कहाँ से गणेश जी? आप एक प्रोटेस्ट पे निकले, प्रोटेस्ट पीसफुल होना चाहिए. एक जानवर है बेचारा, उसने क्या गलती की है कि आप उसके पास इतनी करीब आके लाठी पकड़?
वो इट वाज एक्सीडेंट. ये कोई जिसने भी अगर मान लिया जो उसके साथ हुआ है वो एक दुर्घटना है, न कि किसी ने. क्योंकि मैंने देख रहा था वीडियो में जो आदमी लड़का जो उससे खींच रहा था उसकी काठी को, जब वो घोड़ा गिरा, क्योंकि उसकी टांग पीछे फंसी हुई थी, उसमें वहां पर एक खड्डा था और एक एंगल था लोहे का, और अपने वेट जब उसकी खींची तो उसके वेट से वो गिर गया. और दूसरा एक बताना चाहता हूँ, वो घोड़ा बहुत बुरा घोड़ा था. 10 साल उसने हाईवे में नौकरी की, 13 साल उसको यहाँ हो गए, 20 साल घोड़े की एवरेज आयु होती है. और उस बेचारा घोड़ा अगर यंग होता तो
किसको दोषी मान रहे हैं? आप किसको दोषी मान रहे हैं? आप किसको दोषी मान रहे हैं गणेश जी?
जी,
आप किसको दोषी किसको कह रहे हैं आप?
ये देखिए, ये इसमें उस जो हमारा कार्यकर्ता जिससे भी जो हुआ है, लेकिन पहले दोस्त पुलिस का घोड़े लाने की जरूरत तो नहीं थी. ऐसा कोई वायलेंस वाला हमारा आंदोलन नहीं था. जिंदाबाद मुर्दाबाद।
आप कह रहे हैं कि पुलिस घोड़े पे आई क्यों? Let me get Aarti and Purva to respond to that. Ganesh जी, आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए फोन पे।
लेकर आती
Okay, now
तो आप
who's
किसको
responding
मारते?
there? Aarti, go ahead. Ganesh, Aarti, go ahead, बोलिए।
अगर वो पुलिस घोड़ा नहीं लेके आते तो आप किस पर लाठी मारते? लाठी लाए क्यों थे आप? लाठी की जरूरत क्या? प्रोटेस्ट करने आए थे और ये जो सारी चीजें जो आप एक्सप्लेनेशन दे रहे हैं, प्लीज आप बुरा ना माने तो लेट मी फिनिश टॉकिंग। आपने अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन
बोलने दीजिए गणेश जी, 2 मिनट, फिर आप रिस्पॉन्ड कर लीजिए।
मुझे बोलने दीजिए।
आरती बोलिए।
हाँ जी, आपने अपनी वीडियोस भी दिखाई हुई अपनी तरफ की, तो आपने अपनी जो पूर्वा जी कह रहे हैं, जो आप सब कह रहे हैं अब कि लेट द लॉ टेक इट्स कोर्स, फाइन, लेकिन आप क्या कर रहे हो घोड़े के बारे में? और आपको इतना आपकी जिम्मेदारी नहीं होती है? एक सेकंड प्लीज, मुझे बात करने दीजिए, आप इंटरप्ट ना कीजिए। आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट अगर आप मुझे बात करने दीजिए
क्विकली,
बिकॉज आप किस तरह का इंप्रेशन दे रहे हैं दुनिया को, आप किस तरह से इंप्रेशन दे रहे हो सब लोगों को कि आप प्रोटेस्ट करने गए और यहाँ घोड़े को मार रहे हैं आप, तो आप बनते क्या उससे?
Let me put that first to Purva and Sambit, and we'll come back to Ganesh Joshi. Purva, the question being raised by the MLA is, why was the police on a horse at all? So he's seeking to put the blame on the police.
Sure, why was the police on a horse at all? I agree, but that doesn't change what's happened here. It doesn't change the fact that, you know, a member of public office was waving around a weapon in a public place and that a horse's leg got broken. You know, veterinarians who have seen the images of this poor horse's leg have said that the wound looks to be the kind of wound that would come about from the type of blows that you can see being rained in the video. So, you know, whether the police were on a horse, I agree with him. They shouldn't have been. But that's not the point here.
But let me just take this to Sambit. Sambit, we actually don't specifically know what caused the wound, but we do know that it was in the melee of the protesters, that either the lathi hit the horse or the horse tripped, because the protesters were pushing against the horse. Either way, it's really serious cruelty to animals, and what both the animal rights activists are asking is, what was an MLA doing wielding a lathi to begin with?
There are three things over here, Barkha. Let me be very neutral and speak about this. Forget that I'm a BJP spokesperson. We all have to love animals equally as we love human beings. Number one, the fact that why police was using a horse. Let me tell you, it's after the British Raj. Generally, the police does not use mounted horses because that is supposed to subdue the highest amount of protests. I don't think that was a protest in which the British Raj was fighting the Indians. So I believe the administration should not have used a mounted horse. But having said that, even if a mounted horse was used, that does not give the freedom to anyone to show cruelty to the horse. But right now, even in this discussion, the conclusion that we are finally drawing is that the MLA was waving a flagstaff or was waving a lathi.
Yes.
Lathi. I would say, well, he may be waving a lathi, but that would go for a second. That would go for a separate kind of discussion. But was that lathi, and was he the one who was responsible for the kind of ill health that the horse is suffering from? This we have to come clear on, because after all, if the law has to take its course, then all these things have to be established.
Purva, the point being made is that the debate over whether an elected legislator should be carrying around, brandishing a lathi, is separate from whether that lathi caused the injury. And now, as the police looks at the videos, they will have to establish whether it was the lathi or whether in fact the horse fell as the protesters pushed against the horse, of which of course the MLA was one protester.
Yes, it just seems like a huge coincidence that someone was wielding a lathi, waving around, raining blows, and then the horse fell. However, anybody who is responsible for hurting this horse is a danger to society at large, because if they can hurt a horse, they can hurt another human being as well. And there were reports about an SSP also being roughed up in the whole mayhem. So every single person who was responsible for hurting this horse should be brought to justice.
गणेश जी, आप लास्ट कमेंट क्या बोलेंगे? आप कहते हैं पुलिस घोड़ा लेके क्यों आए, लोग कहते हैं आप लाठी लेके क्यों आए, और जो भी हुआ वो बेचारे शक्तिमान की तो कोई गलती नहीं थी, और जो भी हुआ उस प्रोटेस्ट के केओस पे हुआ, एज द प्रोटेस्टर्स वर पुशिंग अगेंस्ट द हॉर्स.
इसके द्वारा भी हुआ, जो एक्सीडेंट हुआ वो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण था. और जो ये एनिमल लवर्स हैं, मैं उनसे ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि ये कमेंट्स देने से बढ़िया बेहतर होगा एक बार आकर उस घोड़े को देखें, उसका बेहतर इलाज कराएं. उसका पूरा खर्चा मैंने भी कहा, हमारे पार्टी के अध्यक्ष ने कहा हम पे
डिप्लोमेटिकली
करेंगे।
मामला और
दूसरा
पूरी बात
मुझे
घुमा रहे
खतरा ये
हैं।
है
आप गए हैं
कि
उसे
कांग्रेस
देखने
के
को?
लोग, मेरी बात सुन रहे हैं आप?
वो पूछ रही हैं आप गए हैं उनको देखने को?
मैं तो कल गया था रात को, और जब मैंने उसकी हालत
बस
देखी
खत्म हो गया,
तो-
एक बारी रात को गए, हो गया काम आपका।
अरे मैडम उसके बाद
और
में हाउस
किया
में
क्या
हूँ।
उसके बाद में, किया क्या?
और उसके बाद में
देखिए,
लगातार
आपको
मैं डॉक्टर
कभी
से संपर्क कर बात कर रहा हूँ। हमारे
आपको
उसके बाद
कभी
मैंने हमारे
पता
लीडर
है
हमारे जो अध्यक्ष हैं
फ्रैक्चर
उनको
होना
भेजा,
और
दिन में वो
पैर
देख के
टूटना
आए।
क्या होता है?
रात को मैं देख के आया, उसका हमारे कार्यकर्ता देख के आए, लगातार हम उसके हालचाल जान रहे हैं। और मेरा एक बात और कहनी है, ये कांग्रेस के लोग अपनी उसके लिए उस घोड़े को मरवा भी सकते हैं। मैं एक बात आपसे और कहना चाहता हूँ,
वो घोड़े को मरवा भी सकते हैं। अब ये तो आपने पूरा राजनीतिक मामला इसको बता दिया। गणेश जी, कम ऑन, लेट्स फोकस ऑन द हॉर्स।
ये तो जब अपने
We really don't care about the BJP and the Congress in this.
इसलिए मेरा तो जो एनिमल लवर है उनसे निवेदन है कि उसको अपने कस्टडी में ले लें, और उसका जितना इलाज का खर्चा हम करेंगे उसको।
तो आप अपने हाथ धो रहे हैं उस मामले से कि अब एनिमल एक्टिविस्ट को उसको ले लेना चाहिए। आप तो हाथ धो रहे हैं
यहाँ पे,
पहले उसे मार मूर के फिर आप हाथ धो रहे हैं।
Okay, 15 seconds to everybody. गणेश जोशी रिफ्यूजिंग। आप कुछ इसमें अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी मानते हैं, हाँ या ना?
He is washing his
एक
hands
मिनट,
off.
do you
मैं तो
take
कह रहा हूँ
some
कि एक एमएलए
responsibility,
होने के
गणेश
नाते मेरी
जी?
नैतिक जिम्मेदारी है कि उसकी मदद की जाए, उसका इलाज में जो
आप मानते हैं कि इसमें आपकी जिम्मेदारी है कि ये शक्तिमान इंजर हुआ?
कि अगर आप वास्तव में एनिमल लवर्स हैं तो उसको अपनी कस्टडी में लें, क्योंकि अगर वो वहाँ पे रहेगा तो ये कांग्रेस
प्लीज
के
आप
लोग
हमें
कुछ भी कर
एनिमल
सकते हैं।
एक्टिविस्ट को मत कहिए क्या हमें करना चाहिए। आप अपनी जिम्मेदारी समझाइए। आप एमएलए हैं, आप किस
हाँ, तो
तरह
मेरी
का
जिम्मेदारी
इंप्रेशन
मैं
दे
कर
रहे
रहा
हैं
हूँ।
दुनिया भर में, और आप किस तरह का इंप्रेशन दे रहे हैं पूरे यूथ को, पूरे कंट्री को? आप क्या इंप्रेशन दे रहे हैं? आप उल्टा हमें एनिमल लवर्स को जिम्मेदार ठहरा रहे हैं।
Okay, we have to leave it here. Ganesh Joshi, now Sambit Patra, suggesting a conspiracy here, saying the Congress could get this horse killed. Now, isn't this entering the realm of the absurd? Sambit, do you agree with him as his party colleague?
Yeah, who's interested in the
Yeah,
politics?
who cares about the politicians right now, yaar? Who cares about the politicians
You're
right now?
absolutely right. Certain issues should never be politicized. I mean, this was an issue on which all of us agree
he's
to a common
attacking
point that,
animal
well, the horse
activists
should
now,
not
that's the lowest
suffer.
blow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really painful. I'll tell you, Barkha, I'm a doctor. I've seen
I have
men
to leave-
suffering.
okay.
I understand because people can at least speak. Animals cannot speak.
Exactly,
We have to
and
feel for
therefore
them.
politicians should really watch what they say right now instead of
So he's
politicizing
attacking
this.
animal activists who are speaking
Let's
on
leave
behalf
you.
of
Let's leave you
animals.
with the image of. Let's leave you now. Let's leave our viewers tonight with this image. This horse who has suffered in silence. The one thing we don't need right now is political noise. We need this horse to be tended to. We do not need the politics, and we need to book whoever was responsible for doing this to Shaktiman. Leaving it there. Thanks for watching. Good night.